today's video, we diving deeper into TXT and their amazing lore. This video honestly blew me away, and this is exactly why I have been falling in love with K-pop. This video was so in-depth, and this is exactly what I've been looking for every single group that I've been reacting to, but I just happened to stumble upon it with TXT. We're going to be checking out TXT Sugar Rush Ride, the music video explained, and if you're new to TXT, bro, sit down, relax, and enjoy. Sugar Rush Ride explained.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about Tomorrow by Together's Sugar Rush Ride, focusing on a little breakdown of the lyrics and the music video to see what they can tell us about the concept and story of this comeback. Now, Sugar Rush Ride is a song that portrays the story of a boy falling into the temptation of a sweet but deadly devil. If back in Blue Hour, the members asked if you can feel the rush, in this brand new comeback I bet that you all can, because this time around, the Sugar Rush is a ride that is meant to captivate you and draw you closer to a tempting dream. According to the press release, this is a sexy and refreshing song where Tomorrow by Together kinda play a double role. On the one hand, they are the ones being tempted. They are the ones who fall victims of a devil by the window that lures them into an endless fantasy which distracts them from their goals. On the
Okay, so this got to do with goals. Interesting. Now, I did get the devil temptation type of part in the MV reaction, but I didn't pick up on the dream and stuff like that, so it's interesting. That's why I always like to do these concept breakdowns and stuff like that.
A devil by the window that lures them into an endless fantasy which distracts them from their goals. On the other, however, they also become the tempters, because in turn they tempt Moa with a sugar rush that is sweet and dangerous at the same time. Now, in both the lyrics and the music video, this idea is expressed with a dreamy concept that brings us right back to Magic Island, which
now the video was very sexy, I must add.
This time around becomes a Neverland where the boys are tempted by the prospect of eternal youth. As to been explained, the album as a whole revolves around the concept of young people facing temptation. They wish to become adults and achieve their dreams, but at the same time they're also tempted by the happiness and freedom of youth, which in turn is a sweet rush that is very difficult to resist. In order to continue down their path of growth, the boys have to learn to control their urges and resist temptation. But today we're not about that, because the song portrays the moment they actually fall for it. You see, since the name chapter Temptation is a concept album, all the tracks are connected to each other in order to tell a story, and as we saw back in the trailer, this story is heavily inspired by Peter Pan. Back in that video, the boys play the role of Wendy and the Darling Children, and
I ain't gonna lie, this is so cool. I did not know it was this deep, bro. Like, and the cool thing is anybody can take this and apply it to their life, because you will be tempted. Sometimes you gotta make tough decisions, but the right decisions. And sometimes the right decisions may not be the funnest, happiest decisions that you can make, but it's the decision that's going to be more beneficial for you long term. I could definitely understand this.
And the devil tempting them was embodied by Peter himself, who came through the window and was able to lure them into his Neverland with the promise of teaching them to fly. In the same way, this album begins with Tomorrow by Together being seduced by a devil by the window, which is none other than the Odette Cat in disguise.
I didn't see this. What MV is this? I need to check this out. That is the same
creature that has been tormenting them since the very beginning, and this time around it invites them to dream on by luring them away from the reality of adulthood. In the opening song, the boys initially try to fight this temptation, but by the end of the track they eventually give in and fly away following this devil in disguise. Like the Darlings follow Peter to Neverland, the boys are tempted by a dream of youth that leads them right back to their own Magic Island. In Sugar Rush Ride we follow this daydream, and the beautiful locations that we see recall both the setting of Peter Pan as
okay, this is very interesting. So they got this person that's luring them, and they end up following this person that's trying to get them to go through the window, and they end up doing it, and it's kind of like a hint at Peter Pan,
as well as the magical settings of the Star Seekers. Shot in Bali, the environment looks like a real-life Neverland. We can see locations recalling the Hangman's Tree, which is the hideout of Peter and the Lost Boys. Then we can see a setting that looks like Mermaid Lagoon, and in the distance we can also spot the misty mountains reigning over the island. The beautiful tree that we see when the boys are experiencing the sugar rush, however, seems to be a direct callback to Yggdrasil, which is the tree of life from Norse mythology that
so this is the, okay, so she was saying earlier that they are tempted by eternal youth, but I didn't know what she meant by that because I didn't see that in the MV, but I definitely see it now if this tree is a reference to the tree of life, because the tree of life does grant that power. And I guess that honey substance was them, that's what they were trying to get, the sugar rush of, okay,
It also plays a huge role in the storyline of the Star Seekers. This is a tree that was also referenced in videos like Magic Island, The Doom's Night, Blue Hour, Frost, and now it's making yet another appearance to show that
like it's growing
Sugar
too.
Rush Ride doesn't strictly belong to the Star Seekers, it does have a lot of elements in common with it. At the beginning, for instance, the video opens with the boys waking up on the beach. As the camera follows a raindrop landing on Yeonjun's face, in the water we can actually spot the remains of a train called Promise with the numbers 3 or 4 written on the carriage. Fresh off the bat, this is very interesting because all of these elements are very important in Tomorrow by Together's lore. For one, 304 refers to their debut date, but back in Eternally we also saw that in the storyline the same date corresponds to a star festival that happened in the past. In turn, the word promise is just as important. Ever since the beginning, both the songs and the story hinted at a promise that the boys made with the star, but in Can't You See Me we saw that this promise was eventually forgotten as their memories turned into ash. As we see in a second, the devil of the story might have something to do with this event, but before we get to that, we also need to point out that promise is a word that has been connected to Yeonjun since pre-debut. In his questioning film, the Morse code at the end spelled the word promise, and on his photocard of the Dream Chapter star, his clue talked about a promise that is important for all of them.
Bro, this lore is very deep. I'm very interested. I wish I would have watched more songs so that I could, but I like this. I like this because I haven't seen any. Listen, this is a 15-minute video. I haven't seen any breakdowns like this.
On the card, the message said that the promise is not just any promise, but rather a dream that all of them share. In Sugar Rush Ride, we see them falling back into this dream, and as we saw time and time again, they got to their destination using a train, which is what they usually use to get to Magic Island. Now, even if in the opening track they accepted the devil's invitation, when the boys initially wake up on the island, their temptation has just begun. As the members slowly get used to their surroundings, they're still wearing all of their clothes, and we don't see any fairy dust on their skin. Soon enough, however, the temptation of youth becomes too difficult to resist, and the first one who surrenders to it is Yeonjun.
And this is how they're further going deeper into the temptation. It always starts with one thing. Hey, let's hang out. You think, oh, we can hang out one time. It ain't gonna be no problem. And then that person start consistently asking you to hang out and knocking you off your path, knocking you off your focus. And that's what happened. The devil tempted them by telling them, come out the window. We got something beautiful out here for you. You know what I'm saying? They leave the window. Now they ended up on the island. But that ain't even where it's going to end. You know what I'm saying? That ain't even where it's going to end. And the devil will do that to you in your life. He will continue to tempt you to see how far you're willing to go. And you don't even know what you're chasing. Hold up.
Jun, who starts running around and grabs Taeyeon's hand to make him join his gang. This moment marks the true beginning of their adventure, because in the next scene we see the members turning into the Lost Boys as they roam around their beautiful Neverland. At this point we get the sense that some time has passed, because some of their shirts have disappeared, and those that stayed are hanging on for dear life. We see them more disheveled, they're wearing vines, and now they have glitter over their ears and necks. They're basically covered in fairy dust, which in the original story is what gives the darlings the ability to fly. Like it was anticipated in the concept photos, this is the daydream stage of the temptation, so it's the moment they play around like happy fools.
Okay. I also seen the point where he was floating and stuff. Okay. I see this.
As they return to the land of their youth, the devil initially delivers on what he promised, and the boys get intoxicated by the sugar rush that overcomes them. Now, as we'll see in a second, this bliss is only temporary, because soon enough this daydream will turn into a nightmare. The devil that seduced them is a liar. The more the boys stay, and the more it wants. But at the beginning, the boys don't understand it yet, because the liar lured them into a fantasy that makes them see the stars both literally and metaphorically.
And that's how the devil gets you. The devil will tell you all of the good stuff. And we speaking metaphorically when we talk about the devil. The devil could come in many forms, but he gonna seduce you by telling you all of the good, but never including the bad. Because that's not what you want. And once you see all of the good, you never, if it's enough good, you are not even gonna think about the consequences, the bad. But something you need to know is nothing comes free in this world. It's it come at a price.
In order to express the devil's whispers, the song also borrowed some lyrics from the pansori called chunyanga. In Korea, pansori is a traditional style of musical storytelling where the singer tells an epic story in form of song. Among the 5 surviving works, chunyanga is possibly the most well-known by the general public, and in Sugar Rush Ride, they referenced it while also adding traditional elements in the choreography. These folk elements help bring into life the story of temptation that the members are telling in their song, and as we see in the video, this temptation grows stronger and stronger as time goes by. The members get trapped in a daze that makes them addicted to the sweetness, and each of them experience temptation in a completely different way. As they run in the field and Yeonjun loses what's left of his shirt, for instance, we see that Hyunin Kai spots a little gecko on a rock. And
it low-key is showing that they sacrifice it more and more as they continue to be tempted.
Touches it, the animal turns purple, and the next thing you know is overcome by temptation at the root of a big tree. The same thing also happens to the others, but in each case they not only interact with different elements of the island, but they also have different experiences connected to their interactions. In Subin's case, for instance, his fall into temptation is portrayed as a literal dive into the water. When they're still on the beach, Subin is already reaching out for the waves.
Bro, this is fire, bro. Because throughout this whole video, they've been dropping little hints, teasers, and it all connects.
And when they run in the field, he stops in his tracks to look at a puddle hidden in the grass. As the temptation grows, his thirst for water grows as well. Wanting more and more, he then finds a bigger body of water and walks in it to reach a waterfall. Then he lays in it as he experiences the high of the sugar rush, and at the end he sinks into it as he's basically swallowed up by temptation. Like with Hyunin Kai, Subin's sugar rush ride is also triggered by an interesting encounter. While he walks in the forest, his attention is caught by something on a tree, and when he reaches out to it, we see a praying mantis next to a wet white flower. In the same way, Yeonjun's temptation blooms when he comes into contact with similar elements. In his case, his seduction begins when he's resting with the others. He turns around and notices a caterpillar crawling on a bush full of pink flowers. When he gets closer, Yeonjun picks one of the flowers, and as he does so, the sweetness of the nectar triggers the beginning of his sugar rush. In Taeyeon's case instead, the high of the sweetness is associated to air and wind, so much so that his experience with temptation literally sweeps him off his feet. If Subin drowned in temptation, Taeyeon takes off. His taste makes him levitate, and at the peak of his sugar rush, he falls into a fantasy full of feathers that defy gravity. Now Taeyeon's feather vision here is also connected to the animal that he is associated with, which in this case is a bird that looks like an eagle. In turn, Bongyo's animal is the butterfly, which is a creature that is often associated to the land of their dreams. Back in We Lost the Summer, for instance, the boys regretted the loss of the summer of their life, and as they wished for it to come back, a butterfly descended from the sky and eventually landed on Bongyo's cheek. Both Napova Star and Frost showed us the butterflies on Magic Island, and in the Temptation teaser, we saw that a butterfly anticipated the arrival of the devil, just like Tinkerbell came right before Peter Pan.
Dang, bro. And that what's wild about this is everybody got their own things that they like and enjoy, and that's how people will get you. That's why you got to be careful about who you have around you and what people you invite into your life, because people will use that stuff against you, for sure, for sure.
Sugar Rush Ride, the butterflies literally show their true colors, because it's with them and Bongyo that we kind of see the daydream turning into a nightmare.
Dang.
Like with the others and their animals, the butterflies initially lure Bongyo in. They enchant him and put him in a daze that makes him experience his sugar rush, but soon enough, the high of his ride takes on a completely different turn. Even if at first he likes it, soon enough the butterflies become very aggressive, so much so that Bongyo runs away from them and takes refuge in a cave. Now if you go back to the MV and pay attention to the background noises, you will notice that when the boys are daydreaming, you can actually hear a tinkling of bells. In Peter Pan, that is the language of the fairies, so adding those sounds is meant to highlight the magical experience that they're going through. When Bongyo runs away, however, the tinkling of bells actually turns into a ringing sound that deafens him, and sure enough, that is none other than a tinnitus. As they tell us in that song,
now y'all told me I gotta react to this song. I do have to react to this.
Tinnitus is a sound that they hear the moment they realize that their dream is a lie. It's a sound that disturbs them, that wakes them up to the realization that they're trapped like a fish in a bowl. And the same thing also happens to Bongyo and the others in the video. The sweet dream that gives them a sugar rush becomes a trippy nightmare like the one that we saw in the concept with the same name.
And like I said, the devil, one thing about the devil, or I guess one thing about a sugar rush, because the devil and the sugar rush kind of the same thing. One thing about a sugar rush It's nice once you, or it's sweet once you taste the sugar. But once you come down from that sugar rush, it's not all glitz and glamour.
And this drastic change eventually leads the boys to understand the reality of their situation. Even if getting lost in a dream felt good for a while, losing yourself in an illusion can become a nightmare that won't allow you to escape. Realizing this truth allows them to snap out of it and come down from the rush of temptation. So by the end, they say farewell to their Neverland and decide to go back to reality in order to become adults. Now in Sugar Rush Ride, this is a decision that they take in the middle of the song, because as the devil whispers to them, Huninkai suddenly screams to get away. In the bridge, the boys understand that their tempter is a bad liar, and even if to an extent that they are bad themselves for falling into temptation, these good boys gone bad are finally ready to see the truth. Now speaking of...
Oh, I remember I seen Good Boys Going Bad, bruh. Okay. I liked how this all tied together. I gotta check out more, and then also more of the breakdowns, because I love this.
Seeing things, Sugar Rush Ride is also surprisingly connected to Can't You See Me, so much so that the lyrics reference each other in a very interesting way. Back in the dream chapter Eternity, the concept explored the end of a friendship that was meant to last forever. As the boys in the story forgot the promise that they made, they let resentment blind them to the point that they could no longer understand each other or even see each other for the people that they were. Trying to figure out who was to blame, the boys asked who is the liar, and in Sugar Rush Ride we finally get an answer. You see, in this context, the liar is and always was the devil. It's the odd cat tormenting them, the little voice that keeps calling them, and the very entity that has been trying to destroy them since day one.
And that's how it be too. Like, you can't allow evil or negativity to get in the way of what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? You got to be in complete control, and really every single day you got to come back to yourself and talk to yourself about what's the goal. You got to come to yourself and be like, what is my goal today? And then go for it. Because if you keep going, and you never reevaluate and ask yourself what's the goal, you'll get lost in all of the chaos around you. It's hard to stay on your purpose. It's hard to do what you're supposed to do every single day if you don't come back to yourself, because it's a lot of distractions out here. We know that. It's a lot of distractions out here, and you can't allow those distractions to grab you. You know what I'm saying?
In temptation, the odd-eyed devil lured them into a fake dream to distract them from reality. Back in Eternity was the one trying to separate them. If you go back to the Eternity trailer, for instance, the members slowly drift apart to the point that Subin becomes invisible to them. They literally cannot see him anymore, and in the video we see that the culprit is none other than the odd-eyed cat scheming in the darkness. Knowing what we know now, that is basically their devil playing his tricks. It wants to separate them, break their bond, make them forget their promise, and essentially trap them in a fantasy where they can leave their tomorrow behind. This is because in the story, the goal of the boys is to save the tomorrow that they want to build together, but the enemy doesn't want them to, which is why he constantly tries to stop them.
Oh, so this go with their name, Tomorrow and Together. Okay. So he trying to stop them from being TXT, basically. And they trying to traverse their way through this universe and figure it out without falling into the temptation.
In his last attempt, the devil by the window creates a perfect fantasy to keep them at bay. Since it's very similar to the dream they used to share, the boys are initially seduced by it, but soon enough they realize that their dream is a nightmare in disguise. If we take a look at Farewell Neverland, for instance, the lyrics tell us that their paradise is full of lies, and this is because this paradise is based on a broken promise. We can even go as
What? Oh my goodness.
For us to say that they're walking through a valley of lies, and by the end of the video and the album, they finally understand it. If in Sugar Rush Ride the devil makes them see the stars, in Farewell Neverland we discover that the stars are still sleeping, and this is the very same thing that they told us back in Magic Island. Even if the devil created a lie that the boys wanted to believe, the truth of the matter is that nobody can see the stars because they will keep on sleeping until they call them. In order to do that, however, they first need to remember the name, which actually connects us right back to the bigger concept of the name chapter. As I already explained in my previous videos, in Tomorrow by Together's lore, the concept of true names is an essential aspect of their storyline. In the Star Seekers, the true name defines the essence of their soul. It allows them to unlock their true powers, to know their true destiny, so knowing the name essentially means knowing themselves. Bear in mind, even if in Nap of a Star the boys make a promise with a single star representing Moa, in the star song that they have to remember, there were stars as well. Because of that, we can say that in their journey of growth, the star seekers are ultimately seeking themselves. They have to realize their potential, learn to know themselves, fulfill their destiny, and in order to accomplish this task and save the world in the process, they have to say goodbye to their Neverland in order to go back on track. By the end of the video,
interesting, because when I was watching the MV, I seen that they, at one part in the MV, they said that they were the tempters. They were the people who were tempting themselves. And what they were basically saying is the fantasy don't work if I don't buy into it. They can only tempt me with things that I want, and I have to choose to say no to those things, but if they're not beneficial to me. You know what I'm saying? And they also seeking they self, but the good parts of they self, not the negative parts, because once you indulge in the negative parts of yourself, then your whole life start becoming negative. You got to find the positive parts of yourself and chase that so that your future could be positive. Come on, hold up, I like this.
They have to say goodbye to their Neverland in order to go back on track. By the end of the video, the boys leave that paradise full of lies, and even if this farewell is bittersweet, they do understand that it's for the best. Just like Wendy eventually chooses to leave Neverland and become an adult, the same goes for the boys in the story, and to a certain extent, we can even say that confronting temptation was a necessary step for them to grow. To understand the difference between their dream and the devil's lie, they had to see it for themselves, and as it turns out, what they see also answers their pre-debut question in films. Back in those videos, they asked, "What do you see?" and each of the members was associated to different animals which also appear in Sugar Rush Ride. Subin as the praying mantis, Yeonjun sees the pink flowers and the caterpillar, Bongyu as the butterflies, Taeyeon as a bird, and Hyunin Kai as a gecko. Back in the question in films, those animals were also associated to Morse codes connected to their true names, and this implies that what they saw during their temptation is very much a part of their journey to discover their true names and therefore themselves. In order to see where this journey will lead them, we'll have to wait and see, but
Okay, so they just basically confronting their temptation, they confronting that dark side of themselves. You know what I'm saying? And indulging in it so they could see where the negativity is. And sometimes you do have to go through the troubles, the trials, the tribulations, so that you can learn the lessons to get to where you want to be. And I feel like that's really the message of this song. You know what I'm saying? Them confronting their demons, confronting the devil, confronting their temptations so that they can learn from their situation and actually get to where they want to be. Hold up, I likes this.
Taeyeon already said that this comeback already spoiled the next. If you want me to make a video about that, let me know in the comments down below. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bro, amazing video by Bookish Theories. We're definitely 10 out of 10 going to be diving into TXT, the lore, because I'm really interested in the lore and how in depth, how deep it is. You know what I'm saying? I really want to do this for every single group if I can, but not every single group gets a lore that's this well broken down and this in depth. I love to learn more about like behind the scenes of the music and all of the little intricacies within the music videos and stuff, because it's deeper than just sending a message. It's deeper than just having the crazy vocals like they do. It's deeper than the dance moves. It's crazy to think that they actually telling you a story. And the MVs are a great visual representation, bro. Like, dang, bro. I like this. I got to check out the TXT Good Boys Gone Bad theory. And I also got to check out the Back for More theory as well. Hey, we in for a treat. If you want to see more TXT content, definitely hit that subscribe button and comment down below and talk to me. Let me know where I should go, which direction I should go, because at the end of the day, all of the people who support and subscribe and comment down below, you guys are what guide me through my journey with whatever group that you may enjoy. Without further ado, I'm out. Peace and love. I hope you have an amazing day.